connection between Realia, between olive trees, and Hanukkah, because you're here also because of Hanukkah. So, pardon? The oil, exactly. I'm really going to associate Hanukkah to the story that we are really told from childhood. And what is the story? About a miracle that happened. And what happened in that miracle? When Judah Maccabee came to Jerusalem, he went to the defiled temple. And of course, what he does very quickly, he makes a menorah, a 7-armed candelabra. And then he needs to light it, but he has to light it with pure olive oil. And he doesn't find anything except for a little jug, not that little actually, but he does find it. And he lights the menorah that he made, the 7-armed candelabra. And behold, what happens? That jug of oil should have lasted for 1 day, and it lasts 8 days. This is the story that we celebrate, and this is what we know. And by the way, in Judaism, this is what is really mentioned. And as I said, much less of what happened to the Maccabees. As you know, it is actually the church who saved the book of the Maccabees, and from there we learn about their heroism.
Next, we learned about the different ancient methods of extracting oil from ripe olives, and even from the olive pits. The first method demonstrated simple hand crushing by a stone on an indentation in the bedrock. Next, we saw how a hand roller made of stone does the crushing more efficiently. This method then evolves into a larger millstone rotated by donkey power. Finally, we are shown how this pulp was squeezed in ancient bags. To extract the oil, they used long boards of the sycamore tree and used stones as weights to apply the proper pressure needed to finish the process. Then we traveled a short distance by bus to 3 different archaeological sites thought to be the possible location of the ancient city of Modiin. The first site is called the Graves of the Maccabees, and the site was explained to us by well-known archaeologist Simon Gibson.
Now, there are 2 things as an archaeologist that I've been concerned with. One, the whereabouts of Modiin, and the other one relates to the tombs of the Maccabees, the tombs of the Hasmoneans. And we're going to deal with both of those issues today. There are 3 sites which are associated with the Hasmoneans and thought to perhaps represent Modiin, ancient Modiin. The first one is linked to this region that we're in at the moment. This is the traditional place of the tombs of the Maccabees.
The length is about 6 feet, 2 meters or so. And we have this open area in the center with a border below. And to each side is actually the burial where you would lay the body. And they're kind of concave and smooth. They were well carved, actually. Very nice.
Rabbi Daniel Jackson, a lecturer at the Telstone Yeshiva in Efrat, taught us about the connection between ancient Modiin and the temple in Jerusalem.
What was going on here in Modiin? Pilgrims would gather on this side to go up to Jerusalem. And they would buy pots here. Why here? Because the Gemara tells us that there were no kilns in Jerusalem. So you would buy your pots here. So there's a question, from whom can you buy your pot? Who can you trust? Which vendor is the one? So the Gemara tells us that the average vendor, who is not to be trusted in usual things, if he is going into the city of Modiin towards the direction of Jerusalem, you can trust him. But if he's coming away from Jerusalem and he's in Modiin and he's leaving Modiin to go out towards the coast, you can't trust him. Don't buy from him. So that's the first thing. The second thing about Modiin is there's a question about when to offer the Paschal lamb. Up until when can you leave? Now, you know, in those days they didn't have clocks. So there's lots of rules of thumb about what time, where, at what point, if you were sort of like you're leaving Tel Aviv, you know, what time do you have to leave in order to get up to Jerusalem so that you can be at the appointed hour, get in under the last, under the wire, and offer your Paschal lamb. And they said if you can leave from Modiin in the morning, you should be able to arrive at the temple to offer your lamb before it's too late. So there's an idea, but that's our, those guys must have really booked when they walked, I'm telling you. But the idea was that Modiin was a very, very important place textually, as well as from the economy, as we see in the Talmud, in the text. The text is a very, very important place. Is it, as a sociologist would say, is it an accident, or maybe it's no accident, that the revolt during this particular period started here because of its incredible importance in the overall economy of the temple and the we don't know. But the point is, Modiin has very, very important ritual points independent of the Hashmonim.
Well, Travelujah actually was born out of tourism consulting that I did for the Pontifical Institute in Jerusalem. I've been in tourism consulting for about 25 years, and I was doing a project on religious pilgrimage up in the Galilee. And really, as a result of that study, it was there was no real one place, one source for rich, deep content of Christian interest on the land. And you know, it was incredible because so many people want to come here. It's one holy land, and it was clear that there needed to be a platform that was developed that provided people with the information that they wanted to connect with the Bible. And first they needed the information, and then with the hope that at some point they'll want to come and travel here.
So basically you're approaching an audience through the internet to stimulate their interest.
It's all about connecting them to the land, giving them the information that they want, the resources, off the beaten path. You know, the checklist, you can do that anywhere. It's all those extras. It's all the additional stuff. It's the content that people don't know about. Nature, you know, taking the ancient and mixing it with the modern, the people, the Druze, the Arabs, the Jews that live here, Shabbat hospitality. There's just so many different types of content, articles, research, that we can provide because A, we're here, you know, and access to experts. It's all really about getting to the experts and providing a social network where the people who are coming here can actually share their experiences with Christians worldwide. Because why do people end up coming here at the end of the day? Why? It's because somebody told them how great it was. Somebody told them about a particular experience that they had that was transformative, and it should be transformative, and then they wanted to come. So we provide people with those opportunities, and then the hope is that they'll go back online on Travelujah.com, share their experiences, and others will come and they'll learn from users and from experts.
We were inspired by the beauty of a nearby ancient synagogue. Kept under lock and key, the synagogue is part of the story of the preservation of the Jewish faith, retold by the bravery of the Maccabean soldiers who revolted against the Greek Hellenists, thereby preserving Judaism to this day.
How are you enjoying this tour today?
Well, I'm enjoying it very much. I came because I was in a rod with several archaeologists, one that actually knew Shimon, and I had a real interest to find out more about actually what really was the story for the Maccabees and what they did. Very brave warriors for the Lord. They came and stood, and I feel like as an American that I want to say there are people that are standing for the land of Israel and want to fight for what the same reason they did, that it would remain pure and Jerusalem would not be defiled.